And we're back here on the KRON 4 Morning News. Again, we're following the latest details here with the BART situation. We've got quite a problem on our hands. BART riders may have a tough time getting to work on Monday. You see, the union says it's ready to walk off the job here on Monday morning, so we'll have more on that coming up in a minute. Also, firefighters continue to battle the Santa Cruz Mountains fire this morning. It's burned about 2,800 acres so far, so we're following that as well. But let's get back to the BART situation here, because, again, the latest situation is that there's an impasse. BART has, at this point, BART management has imposed certain rules and conditions on the union, ATU we're talking about, Amalgamated Transit Union, and they say that's no good. They're going to walk off the job on Monday unless BART comes up with something better. So hopefully they're going to meet over the weekend and avert this, but at this point, no trains Monday morning. And if that happens, hundreds of thousands of commuters, of course, will be stranded on both sides of the bay, causing major traffic messes, obviously. Yesterday, BART management, as we said, declared an impasse. So we talked to some BART riders to find out what they think about all this. Take a listen.
I casual commute to the city every morning, but it's going to affect my commute back home. I don't know how I'm going to get home. Freeways are going to be crazy, so are the bus schedules. And
in terms of money, I mean, the people have to make a living, but it seems to me they could compromise and that they will.
I hate to say it, but people need to be happy that they have jobs nowadays, and both sides need to really negotiate things out. That's my honest opinion. Times are tough.
It's tough to have sympathy for those people when they have such a good job already. That's what I feel.
And of course, we're following the latest on all this from multiple different angles. Aside from the thousands of people who use BART every day, the thousands more who will be affected by this obviously are the ones who drive on a regular basis, because now we're going to have more traffic on the roads. And so we heard from BART riders just there. We also want to hear from the governor as well. Transportation officials are suggesting, of course, that you find alternative routes, and the governor weighing in saying he hopes that both sides can come together on some sort of deal here over the weekend. Here's his quote, his statement, as you can read here. "I urge both parties to get back to the negotiating table and reach an agreement before any strikes or other job actions are taken. Both sides need to resolve their disputes and come to an agreement here before taking drastic action that will have an immediate effect on the daily lives of so many Californians." So there, the latest statement from the governor this morning. And of course, we're following the latest as well here on our website at KRON4.com. I wanted to bring up our front page here because we've redesigned it just a bit to bring you better information as the page loads. There's a link on the front page that'll take you straight to our BART section, which is the section that you see here. And once you get there, you're going to find, well, some useful tools here for you. First off, there's a live blog that'll be available starting at 7 o'clock this morning. So an hour and a half from right now, this screen will be active, and we'll be sharing your thoughts and comments and suggestions on how to get around. Also further down, we've got a video player. Every story that we've done here on the strike and the negotiations and everything else can be found here. You can play it and watch it. Below it, we've got more stories for you, too, if you want to drill down and really get into the heart of the issues involved here. And then off on the right-hand side, these links probably be the most useful part of this entire section. We link you to 511.org, Caltrain, other agencies here, and on these sites you can find other information on how to get around. 501.org, you can organize car sharing. Caltrain, you've got alternatives through their service, shuttle buses, all that stuff that'll be available. So a wealth of information here for you. Check it out. KRON4.com is the address that you need to know. All right, from here, let's get back to the fires burning in the Santa Cruz Mountains here. We're continuing our coverage. In fact, I believe we've got live pictures again. Yeah, we do. News chopper up above showing you at least one glowing area here on the hillside where the fires continue to burn. 2,800 acres burned so far. 0% containment. Awfully rugged terrain out there, and so they've made very little progress in terms of getting a line around this fire. Authorities have ordered mandatory evacuations now for thousands of people. The entire community of Bonnie Doon, as a matter of fact, has been ordered to evacuate, as well as the town of Swanton, too. They're also being told to leave. The fire has threatened some 1,300 homes and outbuildings. More firefighters are headed their way, though, to help out. 6 helicopters as well. 6 fixed-wing aircraft expected to arrive at the scene today. These are some of the images that were captured overnight. Look at that huge wall of fire here. And this is what strike teams are dealing with as they arrive here from all over the state and here the Bay Area as well. We sent a number of firefighters there. Also the Marin Humane Society is down in the area. They've been taking the animals that have been displaced by the fire. They're housing them, they're feeding them, they're keeping them healthy while the owners deal with their own properties and will ultimately come back to claim them. And firefighters continue to battle the blaze. As we've said, 2,800 acres burned so far. We're going to have complete coverage on all of this throughout the morning. Let's give you a quick idea, though, on this Google Earth map that I brought up. Exactly the area that we're talking about here. Again, the evacuation center centered up here in the town of Santa Cruz. Here in Davenport, that's the command center, and it's this area outlined in yellow that's the evacuation area. As we zoom in here, let me give you a little flyby and show you exactly what we're dealing with. So the town of Davenport, where the command center has been, in fact, might have to be moved. As you can see, the evacuation zone outlined in yellow now getting very close to the city of Davenport. Bonnie Doon is already mandatory evacuation. Swanton is already under mandatory evacuation. And here, of course, is the area where the fire is currently burning, outlined here in red. And that yellow arrow there in the lower right-hand corner, that's the direction the fire is progressing. And as you can see, it is heading further south. And, of course, towards the town of Bonnie Doon, you see that gray shaded area? That's where we had the Bonnie Doon fire last year. Big difference here in terms of the size. That fire obviously a lot closer to Bonnie Doon. This fire, though, that we're dealing with right now, bigger and headed their way. So we're going to continue to follow this throughout the morning, obviously using a number of different tools to help bring you the story. And aside from the fire and the evacuations, we also have road closures as well, and we've been following that. But right now we want to get to the situation with Bart. George Rash standing by the traffic center with more on that.
Thank you, James. Good morning. Well, it was a problem in the early morning hours as Bart was getting underway. They had no service here at Union City or Fremont stations because of a track maintenance vehicle that might have been blocking the trackway problems westbound. 5:37, time for a check of weather now. Here's Evelyn Taft in the Weather Center.
Good morning, George, and we're going to start off in the Santa Cruz Mountains this morning, checking on current conditions. Monday even and Tuesday, Wednesday and Thursday, just a bit cooler. Time right now, 5:39. Want to send it back to James.
All right, Evelyn, thank you very much. And we've got to go to break here real quick. But again, a reminder, the two top stories we're following this morning on the left-hand side. Bart. Workers expected to walk off the job Monday morning unless they can come up with some sort of deal over the weekend. So Bart strike on Monday. Find another way to get to work. On the right-hand side, we've got the continuing coverage of those wildfires burning in the Santa Cruz Mountains. 2,800 acres burned so far. Thousands being ordered to evacuate. We'll have live coverage coming up in just a moment. Stay with us.
Uncertainty over a possible BART strike. Stay on top of new developments. Stay with KRON 4. Get the latest before you go to bed. Find out first when you wake up. Big coverage of the big story. KRON 4, the Bay Area's news station.